I'd like to call the Marlborough School Committee meeting to order, and please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have a presentation from Mrs. Baker on the MPS Permanent Art Collection. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me this time to celebrate some highlights of this year. As we know, this past year and a half has been very unconventional, but we are extremely proud that our students and teachers have persevered and were able to carry on some traditions that help us celebrate our student artists. So first you're going to see a short presentation of the artwork that has been chosen for our 2020 and 2021 Permanent Art Collection. And then I will provide you with some details for our upcoming citywide art show.
Excellent.
Yes. Yep.
The Permanent Art Collection was established in 2008 with funds from the Marlborough Junior Women's Club. Every year we add 12 new images, and with permission from families, the images can be reproduced and exhibited in our community. The entire collection currently includes over 150 images and can be viewed on the Marlborough Public Schools website. You can also view more student artwork in our citywide. This year, a collection of student work will be displayed on lawn signs at each school. Over 100 signs will be displayed across the school district. This will be a safe outdoor alternative to our usual indoor event and will be on display through June 14th. We hope you enjoy it.
So I have a few little updates for our citywide art show. You will start to see some of the signs getting installed outside the schools this week. And by next week, all of the schools will have their signs out on the lawns. We will not have a traditional opening event, but we encourage families, community members to come back to the school areas and enjoy the art, maybe park and take a walk together and walk around and view the work together.
That's great. Julie, are you publicizing it? Like, are they going to talk about it on the local cable channel, in the newspapers, that sort of thing, so folks know about it?
Families are getting notified through their schools, but I'm happy to also, get it out there on social media and on the cable channel. I can send them the flyer that we've created so they can post that.
That would be great. Because I think we've got so many. Oh, hey, Allison. All of a sudden, I looked up and you were there. There's so many things, between our little history lesson in Marlborough and at the high school with the seniors. I think there's a lot of outdoor viewing opportunities for people, and the people are taking advantage of it. So I think people would really like to know about it. Mrs. Hennessy.
Thank you. I'm really excited about what you guys have pulled together and that you're doing something outside. Question would be, will the art be like per school? So if it's a Good Now student, will it be at Good Now, or will artwork be at different schools for different age groups?
So each school will have their own students showcased on the lawn signs. But there is a plan, not finalized yet, but there is a plan to, at the end of the school year, collect them all from each of the buildings and possibly put them out on display in the city where it would be all the schools mixed together. So there's about 120 signs altogether. So something maybe like what we see at the Walker Building with the senior signs right now.
Yeah.
That was where my head was going. So thank you. I think that would be absolutely fabulous, because it's nice to have that little bit of artwork. I have to say, like, I've noticed some of the, I don't even know what to call the electric boxes that have artwork on them and things like that. And it's just nice to see, what the kids can do.
Public art.
Yeah, public
in
art.
general.
So
yeah.
Thank you very much. I love it.
Thanks.
I have another question. So do, all of those, statewide art shows and competitions and all that, do they do those during COVID? I mean, I think we did.
Most of those did take place virtually this year.
Yeah.
So Youth Art Month is a regional and a national celebration that did take place virtually.
Yeah. Awesome.
You made me think of something else. So, okay, on that note, like with our fashion, like they normally do the fashion show. I mean, obviously, that would have been really tough to have done. Have they been able to figure out something? I don't even know. I mean, they've done such an amazing job with that.
Will not be taking place this year. The curriculum was completely overhauled in COVID times. So students who were taking clothing were not using sewing machines this year because they were mostly remote for the year. Yeah. So they were learning very good hand sewing techniques, like life skills that we all could benefit from, but they were not able to create the same type of garments they would in the classroom. Yeah.
No, understandable. I just was curious, and when I saw the thing, the piece from Jackie Dillon, it just really made me kind of think about those kids and with their passion around that. But hand sewing.
We are looking forward to a more normal year next year to get that back. Yes.
Yeah, but God bless them with hand sewing. My gosh.
I know, right?
So good skill. Thank you.
Always looking for a good seamstress.
Right. And I know that you're getting some new sewing machines.
Yes.
We are.
In the
We're
budget,
getting an
yeah.
upgrade to that classroom. Yes.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Lots of exciting things coming along. Any other questions? Oh, Mr. Superintendent.
Just want to say thank you to Ms. Baker and all the art faculty. They not only have had to be experts in the field of art, they've had to become videographers, they've had to tape lessons, they've had to do a lot this year. So thank you so much, Julie, and thank you for all the hard work of everybody who's put all this together.
Yeah. Amazing. And kudos to the kids, because the artwork is beautiful, really. As it always is, but this year as well. Anyone else? Okay. Thanks for coming, Julie. Take care. Okay, Mr. Bergeron.
Thank you. For my spring COVID update, I gave the committee an update on the number of cases. I can report that we're still at the same number of overall cases. We're still at 8 cases. For the city, the number since I gave it to you the last time has been pretty consistent. We're still about 30 cases for the entire city. Positivity rate has been dropping. And the same figures are pretty much holding for the state as well, in terms of they're dropping every day. I think today, if I read the report rate, there was only 188 cases across the whole state. So that seems to be dropping pretty rapidly as we're moving on. So that's my update on COVID. I do have an update for vaccination clinics for students in schools. I sent some information the other day and just wanted to provide an update. In conjunction and working with Marlborough Hospital and the Board of Health, we are able to offer vaccination clinics tomorrow for students in school. And we're going to be first at Marlborough High School in the morning, and students who have the consent forms and everything filled out, they'll be able to get a vaccine tomorrow morning. After they finish it up at MHS, they are going to move over to Wickham, where we have a lot more demand, and they're going to be doing vaccinations at Wickham as well. So I just want to thank Ellen Carlucci. I want to thank Mr. John Kelly. He's the Chief Nursing Officer who's really kind of spearheaded this, and they've made it incredibly easy for us. At first, we were talking about potential doing shuttle runs between the schools and the Marriott, and they really stepped up and said, we're going to come to you. We're going to make this as easy as possible. They've helped us with the forms. They've helped us with everything. So really, it's a big shout out to Marlborough Hospital and the Board of Health for coming together and really making this a success. Early numbers indicate that we'll have over 300 kids tomorrow.
Wow.
So I'll be able to give a final number once we actually go through the whole process, but there's a significant demand at Wickham. Not as much at the high school, and our numbers are showing us that a lot of kids at the high school have been able to get it either through their job, if they work at, like, for example, if they work at a grocery store, they work at an ice cream parlor, whatever they're doing, they've had access to vaccines. So there's not as much demand at the high school. There was pretty significant demand at the middle school. And I think parents were happy that we could just take care of it during the day, and it wouldn't require yet one more ride somewhere else to get a shot. The nice thing is that we will be able to do the second shot while school's in session. So we have all that set up. It'll be, I think, June 16th will be the second shot, and we'll be able to do that in school as well. So that's my update on vaccinations.
Do you know what the capacity is? Like how much they have?
As many as we can give.
Unlimited?
Yep.
Awesome.
That was the answer we got. So we basically have just been trying to track how many consent forms we're getting back and then giving the hospital an update every day. So it was a quick turnaround. We kind of get the okay or late last week. We started sending home notices. We sent home the consent forms and tried to do a couple of reminders throughout the weekend. So we're pretty happy with what we've seen so far out of this. It's it's tough to predict, but I did not predict this many. So I was very happy to see that.
Great, thank you.
I did want to update the committee. The department has given us some additional guidance on mask and quarantine protocols. So effective on May 18th, the guidance applies to recess, physical education, youth sports, outdoor learning environments. And it basically says that if you can distance, you can take off your mask. In addition to that, for athletics, masking is no longer required. But for indoor environments, we are still have to maintain our masks through the end of the year, which for us is June 21st. So I did include the guidance that they did give us, and there is some restrictions that we're able to get away from, like especially the cleaning, the constant cleaning. While it's a good thing, it's not necessarily required. They found that to be ineffective overall in the spread of COVID. There seems to be very little spread through surfaces. So there are some items that we have been doing that we can start to pull back on a little bit. And I just wanted to provide you that guidance as I receive it as well. My fourth item, I am requesting for the committee to consider revising policy 8.031 to allow the superintendent to continue to admit non-resident students on an individual basis. The policy allows the superintendent the ability to admit non-resident students during a declared emergency. I would ask that the committee expand this to non-emergency times. I have a request next year to allow a student to maintain their enrollment at our schools, and I see this as an added benefit to our faculty and staff as long as it doesn't increase our class size into higher numbers. It's a request for the committee to consider it, whether it be discussion or whether you send it to policy, that's up to you. But I do have a request. I would like to honor it, but I can't honor it without consent of the committee. So I'll leave that for your discussion. I'm happy to put it on our future agenda, or if you'd like to send it to policy, whatever you'd like to do, I'm all ears.
What's the pleasure?
Just make a motion? Can it be that simple?
I mean, if,
As long as you understand that the policy says it's only for declared emergencies, if you allow me the ability to do that, I have one request right now. That's it.
So could I make a request that maybe we could move this to policy? And in the meantime, we could also, I could make a motion for allowance of the superintendent to do as he feels is necessary for this one request while we're in the meantime reviewing this policy. Honestly, I think and you guys can tell me differently, but I think we've all seen some of the benefits that have been reaped by having this as an opportunity to support our employees. And I think, in certain cases, if we can manage this, it seems like a good thing to be doing on behalf of our employees in the district. So I'd love to find a way that you can do this, and not necessarily opening up the floodgates for like school choice and stuff, but, if we can make it an easier situation, I think as an employer, I would love to have that as consideration. So if I could make a motion for this to move to policy, as well as a motion for approval for the superintendent to move forward on this one case, I would like to do so.
I'll second that.
can we do it all in one? Let's take it in two, just to make
Okay.
it cleaner.
Okay,
So
so I'd like to make a motion to move this to policy for consideration.
8.031.
Yeah,
I'll second that.
8.031, second, okay.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Then I'd
Passes.
like to make a motion to allow the superintendent to move forward in absence of this policy being potentially revised, that he may do as he needs to do to handle this one case situation, so at least it can be addressed for the employee in a timely fashion.
Second that.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Discussion.
While I'm in favor of the discussion and most likely leaning towards in favor of the policy being changed, the question is, when do you plan on having a policy meeting? And is there really an urgency? Do you have to give an answer that quickly?
The request is from an employee.
Yep.
And the employee was able to bring their student here this year. And they had a great experience, and they made some friends, and they want to maintain it for one more year. Because otherwise there would be a lot of transitions in the student's life. And it's a reasonable thing to do, especially if you've come into a tough year, you've made a lot of friends, been in school full-time, you want to continue that for one more year. I would say if we could get this decision probably by the 22nd of June, I think that's totally reasonable, and we can give an answer. So if we can have a policy meeting in between then to discuss it and bring it back, I see that as being totally reasonable, and answering it before the school year ends or right thereafter.
Okay, so I will voice my opinion of the reason I would like to participate in that conversation, or be it that policy, because I think there's some concerns, because we've talked about this before, and we raised some concerns then. And I agree, I think this year was a perfect example of it being used properly and helping our staff. But I think there's a bigger conversation to be had. And I'm not saying that the answer in the long run won't be yes anyhow. I just think if there's no urgency to allow it now, my preference would be to wait to just
Yeah.
do it through policy.
We need to have a policy meeting. It's been on my plate to set something up anyway for another policy meeting. I just know that frankly, with everything that was going on at the end of the year and heading towards graduation, frankly, I was trying to allow us that room because we didn't have something that was urgent on our plate. We just need to keep on going. I can certainly set something up. I just was making that motion to be sensitive to potentially the needs of the family on making a decision and keeping them in the lurch, as I know can be hard. So I hear your concerns. I think that, it's a good discussion to have anyway, to make sure that we are kind of thinking of all different kind of positions and situations. So as long as we can kind of, and I'll look towards my policy peeps, as long as we can try and do something, I guess I would say shortly after graduation, so we can, kind of get through that, and I'll put something out if that's fine. So
do we want to continue with the second motion, or do you want to put it on hold?
I would look towards a discussion from the other committee members on what everybody feels, because I mean, if there's not an urgency, I understand. I think I was responding towards, as a parent, trying to put something into plans for your child. That's where I felt like, at least with this one case situation, maybe we allowed the superintendent to potentially move forward with this one thing, knowing that we need to get this taken care of quickly.
This is a one-year request, if that makes any difference for the committee. It's not a request for the entire career of education. It's a one-year request.
Right. So at that point, I have to say, I would still make my motion.
Yeah.
And I'd like to allow the superintendent the latitude to make a decision relative to this one request for this specific need.
Any other discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
So just to reiterate, though, I will move that forward, and I will let everyone know so that, Ms. Matthews, if you'd like to participate.
Yeah,
Then we'll make-
I would like to if I can. as
Okay,
well.
great. So we will let you know as soon as that's set up. Thank you.
And is that the end of your report? It is.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay. What do we have next? Mr. Diaz?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. This is tonight's report from Finance and Operations. Marlborough Public Schools Enrollment Report. The district contracted with Dr. Jerome McKibben from McKibben Demographic Research to perform a 10-year enrollment projection for the school district. The full report is attached to my report tonight for the school committee to review, and subsequently we will be sharing this with the city council as well. We contracted with Dr. McKibben so that we were best informed or better informed as we move on with our long-range planning for the district. Some of the highlights from the report: the primary factor impacting the enrollment changes over the next 10 years for the school district is a lower turnover of empty nest households. That's language from the report itself that I pulled, especially in the Kane district. What Dr. McKibben saw was that the highest level of enrollment increases that we see is when there's turnover in single-family homes, and that turnover is low in Marlborough. So there's a lot of demand, but not a lot of people trying to leave Marlborough right now who are empty nesters. So that increase in enrollment is a little bit slower for us. However, the total enrollment is forecasted to increase in the next few years by 281 students. That's a 6% increase. And then it will slowly decrease by about 137 students through 2030-31. So again, we wanted to bring in a specialist to look at the data, and Dr. McKibben was able to look at a high level of data and gave us a pretty detailed report on where he sees the district's enrollment moving towards 2030.
And Doug, Dr. McKibben, he's going to update this report for us in the fall, isn't that correct?
Yes, so as part of the service that he performs for us is that we can send him the October enrollment data, and he can plug it into this report and give us a refresh report at that point. He understands that COVID might have skewed this a little bit, but he's fairly confident that the data that he put in here is accurate for us. But he, again, we'll see what the October report for 2021 does to this for us. So there'll be an update in the fall. Next item is an update on summer food services. So we obviously look to continue providing meals to the community throughout the summer as much as we can. In-school summer programs, all students participating in in-school summer programs will receive breakfast and lunch. And this also includes the Boys and Girls Summer Program over at Kane. We're also going to have the Richer School and Marlborough High serve as open sites for all families. The site is open to Marlborough families as well as families from neighboring communities. Really, anyone who's 18 or under can participate. We're also looking to continue some form of meal delivery. We want it to be pretty targeted this year, so what we're hoping to do out of my office this week is send out a survey to families, letting them know some of the options that we're doing this summer, as well as allowing them the ability to provide us with their address if they wish for us to create a community drop-off location near them, or depending on how much demand we have, we may be able to do some door-to-door. So that's definitely going to be happening this summer as well. Couple of additions, if the committee will allow me. I just don't want families to be confused. So this week, we're sending out a survey about meal deliveries in the summer. And next week, we're going to be sending out another survey, which is really a registration for transportation. Both of those will be coming out of my office. I consider both of them to be important, and we would love families to review those emails and complete the surveys when they see them. One other item I wanted to share with the committee, one of the end-of-year projects that we are considering is an upgrade of our student seating furniture, so student seats and student desks. We're looking at the feasibility of that now. We have somebody that we're working with that's bringing in some samples that were in the district today, and it's something that we're likely to do. How extensive we're going to go with it, we need to get some quotes first to see what the budget looks like for the furniture. But we wanted to undertake this because a lot of our seating throughout the district, a lot of our student desks are 20, 25-year-old. They've been with us for a while. Some of them are even longer than that. So we're seeking to make some upgrades for the students. Part of that project, and this is something for a later meeting, is potentially deeming some of the existing furniture obsolete. So we've done that in smaller scales in the past. It might be just a higher scale. And obviously we'll try to scrap what we can or sell what we can at that point. First, I need to see how much we can afford to buy. We'll go from there. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and that would be, if there's any ESSER money that's not being tied up in HVAC, that would.
We're just looking at year-end balance.
Yeah.
So the ESSER money is pretty much dedicated already to HVAC. So we're looking at year-end balance to see if we have the ability to do anything. One of the things that we learned from going around last year and presenting on the redistricting was that there was a really strong desire from the parents to make sure that when we're building a new school building, they get all new furniture, they get all new technology equipment. And we made a commitment that we were going to create that technology across all the buildings, and we've been able to meet that commitment this year. We're actually right now in the process of getting our smart boards completely done across that level. The next step is to, I think, look at furniture and make sure that, that we update the furniture in a reasonable time period. Some of the furniture probably has a master's degree at this point. I think it can move on. It's almost 30 years old in some places.
Yeah, when children are sitting in the same desk that their parents sat in, that's probably time for an upgrade.
That is true. That is true. So I think what we're just trying to figure out is with our year-end balance, if we have the ability to do some of those projects, even on a larger scale, the issue comes up that we have to get your permission to get rid of the older furniture. And unfortunately, this is a position we're in where nobody wants it. I hate to say it, but it's really heavy and really expensive to move. So it ends up being a situation where we're trying to find a scrap yard to take it and give us a check and just basically scrap it. And it's really hard to move 5,000 desks. So there's a lot of logistics in here, and I just think what Doug is trying to point out is we might need to come to you and say, we can do it. We need to now vote to make 5,000 desks obsolete, and then we need to find a vendor to come pick them all up. So it'll be a very busy summer.
Doug, the survey for the transportation, that's for next year.
That's for FY '22, correct, yes. So
Okay.
we want to take this summer to, so Steve Phelan, Transportation Coordinator, has been implementing Transfiler, and we wish to perform the routing process ourselves
Yep.
in-house for the first time. So we want to gather data from parents, see who's interested in riding, plug in that information, and develop the routes over the summer.
Excellent. Any other questions, Mrs. Hennessy?
Yep, thank you. So, first, before leaving the furniture conversation, just curious, because I know that there's been supply-demand issues in different pockets, categories of industries. I know computers, obviously. Obviously, desks are not something that I can say were top of mind, but do we know yet about whether we really would have availability for that kind of a larger size purchase?
That's a great question. Usually, when we did the Good Now furniture purchases, we were doing it in like January, February, March.
Right.
That's generally when the FF&E processes go through. So the manufacturers have a lot of their orders, and they tend to deliver July and August. All that to say, we're a little bit late to the game. I'm holding out hope that somebody is going to have the ability to deliver in August, but this may be something that we do during a future school break, either December.
I guess
or
that's why I was
February.
asking, because I know, as you guys have talked to us before, sometimes there are the off periods of trying to purchase something when you can get it for the better price tag. And I would think being late to the game, trying to get it right before school, we may end up having somebody that's like, great, it just jacked up another, $20 a thing or
Well-
whatever. And I just was curious,
Yeah,
so.
that's a good point. We're fairly protected on pricing. We're buying out of the MHEC state contract, so
Yeah.
the pricing, there's a ceiling to it.
Yeah,
And I think our volume will be good enough to entice some manufacturers. But yes, but we are
Okay.
a little bit late to the game.
all right, thank you on that one. And then my next was relative to the enrollment report. Thank you, it was helpful to have that background information about like where it was all coming from. As I think I was saying before the meeting started, though, I'm just curious because obviously they were utilizing the 2010 census report. And is there a potential, which I didn't really see in here, is there potential for them to try and work with the city to get any of our city-specific census information to help to really bring a little bit more current picture of what we may have here? And again, I don't know how solid our information is, but I just was curious.
Yeah, it's a good question. I can bring that up to Dr. McKibben. He did mention that on the last meeting I had with him, he mentioned the 2020 census
Yeah.
and how little faith there is currently on the numbers that are being derived from that census. So he was happy that we had utilized the prior census data. I can ask specifically about the Marlborough census.
It's just knowing how our demographics have changed dramatically here over the last 10 years anyway. I am a little concerned about really using that as our baseline benchmark and not having some of the other things to potentially, show. We've had a huge amount of growth here in Marlborough, and if we're relying upon the information from so long ago, I guess I'm just concerned knowing that we're trying to look at our enrollment numbers to help for class size discussions and relative to our building numbers. I want to make sure that we are as on target as we can be, and I understand that it's just one predictor, but that was concerning to me. And I guess I would say, knowing that when we're looking at these numbers and we have a spike in a few years coming up, specifically in some of our elementary schools where we are trying to stay very focused on keeping those class sizes down. And we do know that we have some space issues to still address, even though we've maneuvered things around. I just want to think ahead. Unfortunately, I think our city has taken in and continues to take in a lot of additional housing. I know that's not in our realm, but it affects us. And so I don't want to have to be reactive if we can be proactive in our thinking and get ahead of it. So not that you have the answers right now, but I would push him to work a little bit more on getting some more current information specifically, because we've had a lot of housing changing over the last number of years, if possible. So,
Yeah, I would also say that he was using actual data from us.
okay,
So we gave him years and years of actual data and enrollment, so he could use that as kind of like tests.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of bears out within what he's saying. I understand exactly what you're saying about the census and all of that. Yes, there's more points of data we can look at, but I think what he's saying kind of rings true. Single-family home turnover is gonna generate the most kids.
Yeah.
So, and when we look at the east side of the city, there's a lot of single-family homes with no kids in them right now. If those turn over, we're gonna see a lot more kids in the schools.
Yeah.
And I think that's just like an easy takeaway for the first thing. And then for your other comments about building, this at least gives us an understanding of how the birth rate affects enrollment and how we've been pretty steady. So that tells us there's additional factors that when things are built, we can then take that into account as well. So, yeah, I think there's things we can do. My request would be, let's wait till October 1.
yeah,
Let's see what the post-COVID enrollment's gonna look like, and then we might also have more information on the 2020 census.
okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Anyone else have any comments, questions? Seeing none. We don't have any minutes, do we?
Well, Jody has a report.
I am so sorry. Yes, so Brian, you were right. You do have a report.
Good evening. Tonight, I would like to provide some additional information on the grant-funded school adjustment counselors for FY22. So as part of the district's FY22 budget presentations, the school committee was informed that 2 school adjustment counselor positions would be funded from the ESSER 2 grant to address anticipated increase in social-emotional learning needs. There is a grant requirement for the ESSER 2 that at least $10,000 is allocated to student mental health services and supports. As we look to a full return of in-person learning in the fall, additional supports will be needed as all of our students reacclimate back to a school setting. The school needs to be able to anticipate the increase in social-emotional needs for the students. Our current school adjustment counselor FTEs by school, currently we have a full-time school adjustment counselor at ECC who also helps as a liaison with early intervention and working with families of children who are turning 3 as far as special education evaluations. We have 1 full-time school adjustment counselor at Richer. We have 1.5 FTE at Goodnow and 1.5 FTE at Jarwick. That 0.5 is one person, 1 school adjustment counselor that is splitting time between both of those schools. Kane School has 2 FTE school adjustment counselors, and that is because we have the therapeutic special education classroom program there. Wickham currently has 4 full-time school adjustment counselors. In addition to that, we also have a clinician for the transition program, which is through, it was originally funded through the Bright grant, which is now totally funded by the district. And for those of you who don't know, that program helps support students who have had hospitalizations or have had a lot of anxiety and difficulty coming into school. So that is a soft landing, home base for them to be able to go to as they transition back to being in person. And at the high school, we also have 5 school adjustment counselors, and we have a clinician there as well for the Bridge program, which is a similar program to the middle school, and that is also something that we had set up through the Bright Foundation. Richer Elementary and Goodnow Elementary will each have a school adjustment counselor position added for the upcoming school year through the grant. The school adjustment counselor that had been traveling between Goodnow and Jarwick will be assigned full-time to Jarwick. So then this will give each of the 4 elementary schools 2 full-time school adjustment counselors for this upcoming fall in anticipation of being able to be there to support students. After this upcoming year for the FY23 budget, given that the secondary level at Wickham and the high school also have guidance counselors in addition to the school adjustment counselors, as well as those clinicians at each school, we'll be discussing having 2 SAC positions being reassigned from the secondary level down to the elementary level for FY23 to have equity of caseloads across the schools. Any questions? Thank you.
Nope. Thank you so much. And now we have no minutes. Okay, next is public participation.
Thank you. For members of the public who wish to have public participation, you may call in to 774-243-0611, and the conference ID is 335-318-08#. Again, that phone number is 774-243-0611, and the conference ID is 335-318-08#. And Madam Vice Chair, I did not have any emails before the meeting that I could share, so.
Okay, thank you. So if anyone would like to address something on the agenda for public participation, now is your time. Mr. Diaz, anybody there?
We have no callers at this time.
Okay, anybody interested in public participation?
There's usually a 30-second delay
Yeah.
between this and
Just wait a little bit, yeah. Public participation. Going twice.
still no callers.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to go off for just 1 second and off for Allison, if there's anything you would like to mention this evening, or to not put you on the spot. I'm going to tell you that when we get to members forum, I'll ask you again, so you can think, if you want to.
I don't have anything for tonight, but I did want to be added to the agenda for the next meeting to make a presentation.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, action items. Mrs. Matthews.
Thank you. Tonight, in executive session prior to this meeting, the committee met to discuss a contract extension between the school committee and the paraeducators, SEIU Local 888, where we unanimously accepted the contract. And I want to thank the paraeducators for a speedy process, great conversation, and looking forward to moving forward over the next 3 years. With that, I'd like to make a motion to publicly accept the contract with the SEIU for July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2024.
Is there a second?
Yes, I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the ratification of the contract between Marlborough School Committee and the Paraeducators Union, SEIU Local 888. Motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Opposed?
Additionally, we were fortunate to reach an agreement with the Marlborough School Administrators Association. I too would like to thank them for a quick and speedy process, and would ask that, in executive session, we also unanimously ratified it and like to do it in public session as well. Motion to approve the contract extension between the Marlborough School Committee and the Marlborough School Administrators Association, July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2024.
Seconded.
Motion made and seconded to approve ratifying the contract between Marlborough School Committee and the Marlborough Schools Administrative Association. Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries.
And thank you.
Thank you very much. Acceptance of donations and gifts. We have one this evening from Donor's Choice, Whitcomb School, Mr. Rodriguez's classes for $534.40.
Motion to approve.
Motion made and seconded to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries. Thank you. Reports of school committee subcommittees. Mrs. Matthews.
So I'm also happy to say that we've reached a tentative agreement with the Secretaries Union, and they will be going to vote on next week, and hopefully we will also be having an executive session for the June 8th meeting for our ratification as well. And tomorrow we start the first of our 4 planned sessions with the MEA for IBB, and I missed the training last week, but I'm looking very forward to our sessions with the MEA. Thumbs up.
And we're starting
So.
with BTs too. Do you want to mention?
What's it?
We're going to start with the BTs as well.
Oh, and yes, we are opening with the BTs tomorrow as well. Or, excuse me, behavior tax. And that leaves us no one after that until next year. And I also want to say, I know Miss Allison was just saying that she wants to be on the agenda next time, but this is our last meeting before graduation.
It is.
So we want to wish all of our graduates congratulations. I look forward to being at graduation.
Did you move on to members forum?
I'm sorry. I shut up.
Did you have anything else anything you needed to add for?
No, you can just come to the
members Okay.
forum, it's all good.
Back to members forum. Carry on.
Sorry. No, I just wanted to wish all of our graduates congratulations, and this year, the last 18 months or 15 months, 16 months have been a struggle for all. And I want to thank our educators and our students for being flexible, and wish you the best of luck in all your future endeavors, whatever they may be. That's mine.
Anyone else for members forum? Allison?
I was going to wait until next meeting to talk about this, but I have another topic I wanted to talk about, so I'll just talk about it now. So we've had a lot of projects done with the new elementary school and the new baseball field and the new baseball field at the middle school, and we have the new middle school field and track. We also have a new softball field at the high school. The one thing we haven't done is the track at the high school, and I feel like I needed to address it just because it's in really bad shape and it really needs to be replaced. So I don't know if that was on your radar at all or if you had any plans for that, but I just hope that it's happening soon.
It is on the long-term capital plan. It needs to be completely resurfaced and probably looked at the drainage as well. But it is on the long-term capital plan that needs the replacement.
Okay, thank you.
Along those lines, is there an update on the ropes course?
Yes, I met with Sean Duvall. He's the new commissioner of DPW. I met with Ted Scott and Tom Tapercio today, and we were looking at sites which potentially could house the ropes course. And without giving too much away, because we want to do a little bit of feasibility, we're trying to keep it close, if not very near, to the high school campus, because we don't want to have, if you have a 55 to 58 minute period, if it takes 20 minutes to get there, you only got 10 minutes on the course. So we're looking at a couple sites that are very close. We need to do some feasibility. I know Mr. Diaz has put the bid out on, I think, combis, and we're looking to get a vendor in place that can give us a proposal for a site that we can then bring forward. We do need to get that encumbered by June 30. So that's going to, again, be a quick turnaround. The two sites that we're currently looking at right now, one is the lower field, affectionately known as the pit. And the second is the path that goes in between the middle school and the high school. I think we like the lower field better because it's closer, a lot closer. And also it's pretty well hidden. So, people won't mess with it. So it's, we understand it's kind of an attraction when you see it. It's a big ropes course and, people are very interested in it when they see it. Having it down there would potentially avoid some of those issues. But we are trying to move that process along.
Excellent. Anyone else for members forum? Catherine, Mrs.
Thank you.
Hennessy.
I'll just piggyback on Ms. Matthews and say, it's been an amazing year. One that none of us would have ever thought we were ever going to live through. But I think it's been amazing because when you look back and think about everything that's actually been able to be accomplished through a lot of teamwork and collaboration, flexibility, accommodations, there's a lot of words that we can put out there, but it's been a pretty amazing feat. And I think our school district is the better for it because we've all learned to adapt. And we've learned things that we didn't expect we were going to need to, but things that will actually, I think, benefit all of us in the future for ourselves and for educating students and for students being able to adapt as well with things that they would have never had to have, we would have never thought we would have done. So I'm so excited that we're about ready to have another class graduate. And a class that's been resilient, that's really gone through a lot. And I know the emotional, mental, physical toll that has taken place on you all, but yet you guys have really rebounded a lot. And I'm really excited to really follow you all on your journeys. It will be really great to watch where you go and how you all take this moving forward and become incredible people. And I think you guys are going to be all the better for it. So I'm thrilled about graduation time coming. I can't wait to see how things go on the Friday night before, on the special celebration. And I'm looking at it that way. This is going to be fun, new, different, and why not? And I hope you guys can really take it all in because the community is right there behind you and supporting you all the way. And thank you for sticking through it, and thank you to all of the employees for all they've done to help everybody else. So thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carries. We are adjourned at 8:23. Thank you.